Hello everyone, Jessica Kabasi here. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be going over the basics of skin retouching. Now, I know I have quite a few skin retouching tutorials out there, but this one was especially requested. And I got a request basically saying, is there any really basic tutorial you can do on skin retouching? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a tutorial so basic you won't even be able to find it on Tumblr, because everything's basic there. You will not find a more basic tutorial than the one I'm about to show you now. I'm really going to do a preschool level approach to this, and I'm going to try to be as simple and informative as possible. So the first thing that you need to know is that I use a frequency separation technique for my retouching. There are so many different ways to retouch, and this is just the technique that I personally like to use. It's easy for me to retouch my images with this. So what it basically is, and by the way, for anyone watching this for the first time and you're not aware of what this whole thing is, I use an action to create these layers just to save some time. If you want to know how I got this set up, I would encourage you to watch a previous tutorial where I really go in depth and show you guys exactly how I created this high frequency, low frequency setup. But for now, I'm going to be talking about what these layers are before we even go in, because it's very important that you know exactly what they are. So the first thing that you need to know is that high frequency is the texture of the skin. Now, to illustrate this, I'm going to create a fill layer underneath it so you can see it in action. And let me use a black color. So this is, oh, that's kind of scary. Okay, so this is basically what this layer is. And I'm going to go from linear light to normal so you can really see it. And it's basically a sharpened, sort of textured image of this picture. So as you can see, we have the skin texture and we have all the main features of the model. But this is basically the texture of the picture. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back to linear light. And then let me show you guys the low frequency layer. Now the low frequency is basically what I like to refer to as the color of the picture, the base of the picture. So low frequency, as you can see, is just like a blurred version of the photo. Now when you combine the two, there you go, you have the actual picture. So it's kind of like you're separating the texture from the color. So why this is helpful is because when you're retouching, you're able to separate, again, the color from the texture, and you have a little bit more control over how and what you're editing. Now, a lot of the time, I feel like the mistake people make is they retouch all on one layer, which it looks like the easiest approach, but you're actually just merging everything together, and I don't know if that's the smartest way to go about it. So again, frequency separation is my personal favorite, and I'm going to show you exactly how I would retouch this image. So when I'm looking at this image, the first thing that I want to do is turn off the high frequency layer. Now, you're going to see all this blurriness and be like, okay, why am I retouching and it's all blurry? Well, I like to think that when you are retouching without the high frequency, you're able to see your progress a little bit more clearly. So what I like to do is press Command J and make a duplicate of the low frequency layer. So after I've made a copy of the low frequency layer, and by the way, I do that just because if I mess up, I can always go back and I have a backup basically. So what I want to do is go over to the healing brush tool, and I will show you guys all my settings. The size is 80 pixels. I was trying to be fancy. 80 pix. And then hardness is at about 71%, spacing 33, roundness is at 100, and angle is 0. Now, I don't think that your settings need to change too much from what I have. You can always lower and select the settings that work for you, but maybe just to begin, you can try out these settings and tweak them as you go along. Now we're going to actually start retouching. And don't be scared, this is going to be pretty painless, I hope. Now, the objective here is you're going to see these areas, and I'm going to highlight them. I'm going to make sure you guys see them. So we have these areas such as here. Oh, wow, that's way too. We have this area here, this area here. Oh, this is kind of fun, like circling around. So we have this area right here. And these are areas that I want to blend together. And one thing that people do is they want to get rid of everything and just make everything one color. And I don't think that's the best way to do it. What I would recommend is to seamlessly transition the colors together. You still want to make it look natural. You don't want to make it look fake. So I'm going to go ahead and begin. And what I do is I make sure all my options are sampled, clicking on sampled, and then sample current layer. Okay, guys? So you're going to hold Alt, the Alt key, and by the way, what I'm doing right now is something that I've been doing for years now, so you may find me breezing through it, but really it's all about practice. The first try, you're probably not going to get a perfect polished look, but I encourage you very strongly to keep on trying. Just like Aaliyah said, try again. I don't know the lyrics, okay. Get yourself up and try again. Okay, there we go. See, I'm singing for you guys in this tutorial too. It's a song cover. Someone's going to be like, Jessica doesn't just ruin the song. I'm never going to listen to it again. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. And again, I'm holding the Alt key option. And I'm going to sample a section that is closest to the area that I want to retouch. So basically, first I'm going to start out right here. You see how there's like a line right there? I'm going to smooth this whole area out. So there's really no right or wrong way of doing this, unless like you're really going overboard, then it's wrong. So what I recommend doing is, again, sampling from an area around what you want to blend, air quotes, blend. And I'm going to do a small section so you guys can see. And as you're watching this, if you notice, I am sampling. I have my left hand is on that, my finger is on that Option key, and then my right hand is using a tablet to retouch. So I'm constantly grabbing new sections to sample. So I'm not just clicking one time and then sampling from only this one area. What I'm doing is click and then a little bit, and then I'm clicking again in another area, just to kind of give it a little bit more variety, if you will. And when you start retouching more and more, this is going to become second nature. You're going to click without even realizing that you're clicking. So you're basically going to become a robot. And let me show you guys. Let me show you guys in just a moment what I'm doing. And it's okay if you're using a lighter color to kind of merge everything together. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And again, I'm clicking. Oh, wow, that was a little dramatic. And even if I mess up, I really don't freak out about it. I either patch it up or I just undo what I did. So I don't really freak out if something goes terribly wrong. There's always ways to fix it. And of course I have my backup layer right there, because I'm paranoid. So when you have a backup layer, it helps out a lot. And again, I'm still clicking, and I'm going to show you guys how to tackle some shaded areas below in just a moment, because this area is a little bit easier. Because as you can see, if you look closely, this area is lighter than this area. You see how this is a little bit more red. the thing is, I don't want to make it all one color. I still want to keep those, that light and dark transition. You know, I'm not trying to get rid of that. I'm just trying to smooth it out. So there we go. Looking so beautiful. Wow. Oh my god, all this for one picture. Like, I just did her forehead. Like, I didn't even do the rest of it. But in a very odd way, it becomes almost fun. But don't quote me on that, because after you do like 12 images, you know. And also, it does help when you're halfway through, and then now it's easier for me to smooth it out because everything already looks kind of smooth. And because I'm crazy, I'm going over the same area 20 times. Okay, so let me show you guys. I'm going to turn the texture layer back on. And that's how it looks right now, okay? Now let me show you the before. That's before, that's after. I did not even have to touch the high frequency separation layer. Didn't even touch that, you guys. See what a difference just using low frequency made? Now again, I turned off the high frequency, and now we're going to tackle this under eye area. And one thing about this under eye area is I'm not trying to get rid of all the darkness. That sounds like so poetic, like getting rid of the darkness. Okay. So I just want to clean it up, I think. And sometimes what I'll do is I will mask that area back in just a little bit, because now I'm starting to go through my phase where my photos will look a little bit more natural. So again, I'm clicking, and it's small little dots. Like, think of Dippin' Dots, you know that ice cream? Think of all the little dots. I'm not doing this. I'm not clicking and doing this. No. That's no. X. No. What you want to do, again, click and click, clickety click, click. There you go. Little baby dots everywhere. You could go a little bit bigger on certain areas. You don't have to keep it like super tiny. And you know, a lot of people will say don't use frequency separation, or you should learn dodge and burn. I would have to disagree, actually. I think for, the purpose of retouching, frequency separation is, it's pretty effective for us photographers who just want to just clean the skin as best as we can. We're not trying to do like a billboard, like where the face is going to be super detailed and it needs to be like professionally done. I think this gets the job done pretty well, and I recommend this to every photographer that I do meet. I think it's the easiest technique for anyone to learn, and I can actually do it. So I tried to dodge and burn once upon a time. I thought I was getting it, but I soon realized that my eyes were basically turning to goo. So I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So here I am with frequency separation. I honestly just think that dodge and burn is really hard. So right now, what I'm doing is, again, keeping that color intact. That brown shadowed color. I'm not trying to completely blend it. Sometimes you don't want to completely blend a color, you just want to smooth it out. So again, I'm grabbing colors from the same area. I'm not grabbing a color from here and putting on her cheek. You can't get more basic than this. I don't know what else I could do to make this a little bit more simpler. Maybe show people in person? I don't know. But this takes a lot of time, though. I'm not even gonna lie. You really have to be someone who has time to sit and edit each and every picture, which is what I do. Basically, just don't go out. Like, it's a Friday night, and I'm chilling here, but it's okay. Like, okay, see how I just messed that up right there? I just added that darker color. That's gonna bother me so much. And I'm going to fix that in this tutorial. I'm going to move on over here. And I hope you guys aren't bored of me talking for the last, what, 10, 15 minutes? Are we going to zoom in more? Oh my God, we're so close. And I'm just doing subtle changes around, again, where there is a very stark contrast of light. You want to be careful. Because I think if you really overdo the retouching, it's going to look bad. And I'm not even going to lie, sometimes I've done that. Like, I retouched an image, I'm like, damn, no. Gotta redo it. And now what I'm doing is I'm going through my older pictures and redoing the retouching, because I kind of found my groove. And by the way, what I'm going to do now is just make another copy, just because, again, I want to make sure if I make a mistake, I can just go back. And I'm doing the under eye here. By the way, for anyone watching this, this model is with Next, and they just used my pictures for her book. And I'm really excited because I don't know, I guess it's like a little accomplishment for me. You know, that's like the whole purpose of me testing with everybody, to get in their main portfolio books. So I'm really excited about that. And I retouched and colored all the images myself. So, I mean, I like to think that I kind of know, I kind of have a good idea of, you know, what good retouching is. But then again, that's just me. But, you know, the agents seem to like what I'm doing and the pictures that I show them. So I think I'm doing pretty good for where I'm at. Of course, I'm always learning. And over here, I'm just going to clean up this chin area. And I don't like to edit this area around the mouth too much. I don't want to overdo it. But see this area right here, I kind of messed up. So, you know, one thing that's really helpful, if you have a pen, if you're using a tablet like I'm using right now, you're able to use pen pressure so that you can do really soft strokes and thin strokes, and then when you need to, you can go a little bit thicker with your pen strokes. So yeah, I don't know, it's just really helpful to have pen pressure when you're retouching. And I think that's looking pretty good. It's always this around the mouth area always gets really tricky. You have to be careful. Okay, so I'm going to grab from this area and then continue on. You always want to grab from the surrounding area. And sometimes I'll grab from the wrong place and then mess everything up, which I just did right now. Okay. But you know what I noticed? A lot of the times, these are going to be for the web only, and retouching doesn't have to be like super perfect. Like, it's not even going to really show. Have you ever looked at retouch images up close, like a digital image, like really, really up close? It's not always retouched that well. I've seen it. I've seen it, you guys. Okay, this area right here needs to be cleaned up, which I'm trying to do. Again, little Dippin' Dots here. Wish I could get some right now. I had when I was in Florida. I think the guy thought I was like so weird. I was like, we don't have this in Michigan. Well, maybe we do. I don't know, but I'm just not aware. So anyone in Michigan, if you guys know if there's Dippin' Dots, you know, send me that email. Okay, so, and I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I use. Okay, you guys see what I'm doing here? I'm suffering right here. What is this? Like, what's going on here? Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And by the way, you might want to like zoom out from time to time so that you don't go crazy. One thing I like to do, if it's looking a little patchy and it's taking forever, I like to pull out this little blur tool right here. Strength is 99. And what I like to do is just go over that section. I'm serious, it really does help. And some people might be like, oh my God, you're blurring it. Well, guess what? it's supposed to be smoothly transitioned anyway, so it doesn't, and I'm not doing it for the whole, and I mean, I'm setting the base with the healing brush, and then I'm kind of going over it. And it really does help. I use it a lot, actually. Still makes the skin look good. Now, what you don't want to do is take the blur tool and just, you know, go over all the skin with it. Obviously, you want to use the healing brush too. And I'm just going to fix up a little bit of this area of her nose. Fantastic. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Not that you guys can answer me, but... Okay, now right now... Okay, so let me show you guys a before and after with the low frequency layer. That's before. That's after. And that is just low frequency. Let me show you guys with the texture on. This is before the changes, and this is after just adjusting the color layer. That's the low frequency layer. We did not even touch high frequency. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is duplicate high frequency. Again, this is just my personal preference. I'm going to go over to the high frequency layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to, you know, merge everything together, all these, the pixels on the texture layer. What I want to do is hold the option key, click, and then click one time. And that way it's still leaving the texture. I don't mind this texture right here. You might think, oh, you know, that it doesn't look professional. Well, if you're looking at it from here, from this, it looks great, right? But then it's only when you like really zoom in that you can see. And it doesn't really bother me, honestly. I think it looks just fine. So again, what you want to do is, if there's like an area like right here, if you want to get rid of that, what I would do is Alt hold on an area that's a little cleaner and then just paste that on there. You're not going to do the same thing as you would with the low frequency and do this kind of thing, like do this, you know, because then that's what happens. So I just kind of like click once. So it makes it still look a little bit natural. So I'm just going to show you guys again how I'm doing this. And it's clicking and pressing really adamantly, like you're pissed off. Like, there you go. And really, if I were to retouch this image, which I just did, that is what I would retouch. And I'm going to finish that up. And that is it. Look at that, you guys. Let me show you the complete before and after. That's before. That's after. And also, if you think this is way too much retouching for any reason, another trick that I use is I lower the low frequency opacity to make it look a little bit more natural. So you can adjust the opacity of what you just did. Again, if you're looking for a more natural type look. So I really hope that this was helpful to you guys. I tried to be as simple and thorough as possible. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me. I'll try to get through everything. And, you know, skin retouching is not an overnight learning process. This is going to take days, weeks, months. You're going to have to work to, you know, just learn your type of like retouching path. So don't be discouraged if you try this out and it looks like garbage, because the first couple times I did this, I mean, it was horrendous. You guys don't want to see that. So just keep on trying. And before I go, I'm going to show you guys another before and after, because I love before and after. So again, here is before and here's after. And we hardly touch the high frequency layer, which is the texture layer. It's all the magic's in the low frequency layer. So before you begin, again, just turn off that high frequency and start on low frequency. I will have a link to this action in the description. So check that out. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. Again, I really hope this was helpful. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, thank you so much for watching.